quiet your mind, because your soul knows. Your
Yeah.
soul knows the truth.
Well,
And why are we here in this realm? We're all souls in these meat bodies. We are all unique expressions of the Creator incarnate right here to learn, to remember who we were and where we came from.
yeah.
That's the truth. That's why we're here. We're all connected, every single one of us. And they come up with every friggin' modality you can think of to keep us divided and keep us separated and keep us at each other and keep us in this state of fear so that they can control us.
You guys are really in for a treat today in this part two conversation with Randy Couture. Now, this conversation really took a turn. We got into some conversations about some personal things and our feelings. So I hope you sit back and you really think about this, because my hopes is what Randy is saying that all of us really pay attention to, because it is very important. So please sit back, listen, and spread the word and the podcast. Thanks. Let's get right back to it.
Well, we used to hear that term, I felt it in my gut. My gut told me
Mm-hmm.
so, that kind of thing.
Intuition.
Intuition. It's almost gone from
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
There's
This
no
has been the
intuition.
last 20 months for me. I started having what I can only categorize as a spiritual awakening.
Okay.
And previously to 20 months ago, I would have absolutely called myself a Christian. I was in a regular churchgoer, indoctrinated or raised in that, but I, learned enough about Christ through my grandmother taking me to church, and some of my friends that you and I both know that we grew up with that were very into the Christian religion. My little sister is an amazing human and an absolute Christian. That's what's gotten her through. That was the thing she leaned on to literally survive and get through her life.
Hmm.
So I don't, I believe in a creator. Absolutely. This is way too complex and we are all way too connected for this to be some cosmic fart. No way. I'm not buying it. And I think we've been told a whole bunch of lies, to be honest, about who we are. And I think Christ was trying to tell us the truth. He was trying to enlighten us. And so was Buddha. And so was Shiva. And so was Muhammad, if you dig in to what Muhammad was really teaching. And he fought the powers that be for 20 years before he died. And then his son picked up that mantle and they murdered his son, because Muhammad's real message, just like, in my opinion, Christianity, was taken and twisted for control, for fear and control. Christ didn't come here to start a religion. He
Yeah.
came here to tell us the truth. One of the most pure souls that's ever walked this planet. But he had brothers. Yeah. How many other ancient stories are there of an immaculate conception? But if you dig in to what he was really saying and what he was really trying to teach us and who he was up against back then and why they had him killed, it takes on a different light. Why the book of Enoch and the book of Thomas and Mary Magdalene's book, who are people who actually walked with Christ, eliminated from the Bible?
God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've taken a turn here from health to wellness, but we're talking about your soul.
And
It's a
this is,
very important thing. It's
yeah.
all wrapped up in the same incarnation, expression of God that's here.
Yeah.
So it's been a very intense, but very enlightening 20 months for me. And I feel like I know myself better than I ever have in my life.
I got
Uh,
to ask you then, Randy, what was the fuel that started this path
that's a
on
great
20
question. That's a great question. It's hard for me to put a finger on that. I did start a new supplement before my 61st birthday, and I'm coming into my 63rd here in June. And that's when, within a couple of weeks of starting this iodine supplement. Why was all salt iodized back in the day? Because iodine is very good for you. It kills a lot of parasites.
Yes.
And so I started this new iodine supplement. It eliminates heavy metals from your body, the mercury and all the other crap that they're spraying in the skies and putting in our food. Um, we all have a pineal gland. A lot of people the mystics call it your third eye. It is literally a gland in there that's got crystals in it. It is an antenna. It not only transmits, but it receives. And most of us through the fluoride in our water and at your dentist, don't let them put that shit in your mouth. It's rat poison.
Yeah.
That fluoride, the heavy metals, the Wi-Fi, why did they roll out all the 5G under the darkness of COVID lockdowns? All calcifies that pineal gland and coats it so it doesn't receive or transmit. And I think I'd already been doing spirulina and chlorella, which help eliminate those heavy metals. I'd already been doing turmeric. The only thing I had added to the regimen was this iodine drop under my tongue every night. And within 2 weeks, all these emotions just start pouring out of me at the drop of a hat. I'm like, holy shit, I've got CTE. I got punched in the dome too much. I couldn't understand it. I mean, I've never been that guy. And there's the lie they tell us all as males from the time we're very little. You stop that crying. I'll give you a reason to cry. You don't show emotions. You don't show vulnerability. That's weakness in this society. Bullshit.
We're playing a role that somebody else.
Bullshit. That is courage.
Yeah.
And yes, we have feelings. And yes, we should be allowed to show them. Just need to show them to the right people.
Yeah.
But I had all these emotions pouring out of me that I at the drop of a hat, I would be bawling. And I'm like, what the hell is going on? I literally thought I had brain damage. And rather than go to a doctor, I turned in. I started meditating. I literally went on a retreat with a shaman and did some psychedelics. Changed my life. And I see the world and the realm in a completely different way now. I've shed a bunch of coping mechanisms, a bunch of old habits and behaviors that were all ego driven or put in place that helped me get through trauma. Rather than let that trauma out, those traumas stick in us if we don't address them, if we don't let them out into the light of day. They hate the light of day. But you got to find the safe place where you feel comfortable even doing that. And all of us are so tied up in this matrix, if you want to call it that. Who knew that was a documentary? Same with Terminator, the way AI is looking, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're starting to look more like documentaries than sci-fi. It's wild, but yeah, turning in, meditating, controlling my breathing, addressing these things that kept coming up when the emotions would start pouring out. Some of it was family, some of it was other relationships, some of it was just shedding, bad habits and coping mechanisms that I developed through programming that no longer were serving me. Yeah. And allowing me to be my higher self, to be a good man. 3 divorces, a couple of other pretty significant relationships, and there was this pattern that started to appear that I had to recognize. And I had to shut up, my crazy roommate. That's what everybody needs to recognize. That internal dialogue, that subconscious voice is very, very important for you. That's where your fight or flight is for sure. But he also says shit to you that nobody would say to your face and not get punched in the mouth. But recognizing that you control that voice does not control you. Very important. Yes. Step behind it. Let it chatter. Let it say whatever it wants to say. Let it go on about anything. It doesn't matter. You don't have to engage. And guess what? The longer I spend back there behind that voice, the closer I feel to God. God is in each and every one of us, right here. That's what Christ was trying to tell us. As above, so below, as within, so without. What it looks like in here is exactly what it's going to look like out here. It's a mirror. And if you're putting out a bunch of shit, guess what? A bunch of shit is coming back to you. And if you're putting out love and gratitude, and what's the highest frequency you can vibrate? Authenticity.
Yeah.
Those 3 vibrations, and it's all frequency. Ask Nikola Tesla. Do you want to understand the world? You better start digging into frequency, because everything vibrates. I sound like a wild man. I sound like I've lost my mind.
No, but I mean,
I honestly, if it wasn't you, Chuck, I probably wouldn't be talking about this stuff on a podcast. But I've known you most of my damn life.
Yeah, it's everything is on a vibration. Everything is on a frequency. And there is no solid object either, which sounds crazy.
We're talking about your eye, right? And my buddy is literally getting the vision back in his eye through a frequency machine.
Mm-hmm.
They will do you find the right frequency, it will change your mood. What did they do to music? Used to run at 440 hertz. They upped it to 444 hertz because that's a very agitating frequency.
Yeah.
It's almost like they don't want us to be comfortable.
There's so much to.
Who's they?
Yeah.
There's, and I don't even want to open that can of worms.
Yeah.
That's wrapped with all kinds of labels and things that aren't going to serve anybody. You're going to have to figure out who they are on your own. I have a pretty good idea who they are, but I'm not going to go there. Because there's a whole bunch of other programming that is wrapped up in those labels, and those labels are our worst enemy. But they want to call you a Democrat, a Republican, white, black, yellow, whatever they want to those are all labels.
Yeah.
The only label I'm willing to accept is human. That is the only thing I am.
100%. Absolutely. And I think the dangerous part is that a lot of us, a lot of people, I'm not going to say us, because I'm going to say I'm not trapped in that. I've found my way outside of that skin, but a lot of us put ourselves there because it's comfortable. We can follow somebody else. And then, like we said earlier, you become your own echo chamber, and you are now your worst enemy, worst everything. And you are your biggest proponent.
Detriment. You are a detriment to yourself.
Yeah.
By closing yourself off that way.
Yep.
Not being open and willing to hear and listen to everything that's going on out there, to see through the bullshit, because it's all bullshit. Well, and that's what they don't want us to do, is see through the bullshit.
Well, how do you feel, or what do you think about grounding? We've heard
grounding's amazing. 7.83
is
the Schumann resonance. That's what the earth vibrates on. So get your feet dirty. Get out there and sit next to a tree and put your hand on that tree. That tree vibrates too. And why do you feel so good at the beach? Because every one of those waves crashes in a vibration that's at that same Schumann resonance. And that's why the beach, whether you got in the water or not, that's why that beach feels so calming and so relaxing. The best place for us to be is out of these cement jungles and out in the woods. And take your damn shoes off. Those rubber soles are insulating you from that frequency that vibrates through you and literally changes your blood and your mitochondria at a cellular level. It's proven. Quantum physics has proven a whole bunch of this stuff that used to be quackery.
Yeah.
That used to be, you're one of those. You're smoking too much weed, bro. No, I don't smoke anything. I'm born with asthma. Me and the smoke don't get along.
With the grounding bit, I've had friends, associates say, well, I live in the city, I can't do that. You can. I personally feel you could be grounded anywhere. Yep. It's a matter of clearing your mind. And then literally, for me, I have a bench in the backyard. I'm not in the big city or anything, but I sit, like I said, shoe off. I plant my feet firmly on the ground and I shut up.
Quiet your mind.
Yeah.
Yep. And a bunch of great guided meditations out there on YouTube. Jason Stevenson, the Australian guy, got some great ones I listen to all the time. Jess Shepherd, female, some great ones. Pure Rasa, another one. There's a bunch of her guided meditations out there. Pick the one that's the length you want. I use them a lot to go to sleep at night. I will wake up at 1 o'clock realizing that meditation is still playing. But there's some guided meditations that are going to help you with your breath work. I don't know how we learn this improper shallow breathing. That's not a deep breath, man. Look at a baby, an infant in the nursery. What's going up and down? Their belly, not their shoulders and chest. But somehow along the way, we get a deep breath is all up here, and a deep breath is all down here in your gut. Learn about your chakras, your energy centers. Learn to breathe properly. Why is yoga such a craze? Because it focuses on good, proper breathing. Find a sound bath. Sounds crazy. You're not going to get wet. You don't need a towel. It's literally bowls that vibrate at a particular frequency, and you feel them resonate in your body. It's an amazing thing.
It is. And there's a whole lot to go along with this tapping,
Tapping, that's again, that third eye activation.
Yeah, there's so
There's a whole bunch of things, you know, the person that hasn't experienced any of this waking up, this spiritual this, and there's a bunch. When this happened to me, I was feeling very alone and very alienated, like, man, I'm losing my mind. And then somebody will give you a cue, say something, or drop, and they're testing the water. Maybe he's feeling this too.
yeah,
And the people that were going through the same feelings and the same stuff that I've been going through the last 20 months has been remarkable to me. There's definitely something shifting in the consciousness of us as humans. And we're starting to remember, and we're starting to feel the things we're supposed to be feeling and seeing through the veil of this control, this matrix, if you will. And there's a bunch of us that are waking up, and that scares the shit out of them.
yeah. Well,
Um,
my hopes on this, we've taken a drastic turn, but this is awesome.
you think?
But this
I
is
feel like
really
I'm
good.
standing on my soapbox, but at the end of it, I'm being honest and open. And yeah, some people may criticize and not get this and think it's quackery. And I think is we live in a conscious created reality, and what we think and say are hugely powerful. And what, like I said before, what's going on in here is exactly what out here is going to look like.
Yeah, it's a reflection of what's in
It's a
your
mirror.
inner
The
self.
universe is a mirror, and
Mhm.
and our consciousness creates this reality. So we're all pissed off and we're all being assholes. That's exactly what this world is going to look like. And we're all operating from a frequency of love and gratitude and authenticity. This world will be a remarkably different place.
Yeah. Well, my hopes on this, our conversation now about all of this is that you are still highly respected. You are well known, and you are the guy that can open this thought process up to many men. I don't want to say that men need it more to open their eyes, men and women, but I think most guys are going to look at you and go, you know what? I think I'm going to try that because I know who Randy is, and if he's doing it, and if he feels this way, I'm going to see how it works for me. So,
Well, I mean, I hope it resonates with some people, and that everybody don't just scratch their head and like, oh boy, that dude's been punched in the dome too much. But I tried to just be as a fighter. I didn't create a persona. So many
yeah,
guys do that because they feel that makes them more marketable, and the promotions tend to reward that kind of bad behavior because it draws eyes and people and sells pay-per-views. I mean, let's be honest, it's a business at the end of the day.
yeah,
But I tried to keep it simple and just be me, just be myself. The world's complicated enough. I don't need to complicate it more by creating something else that I'm not. And I think that was one of the reasons why my fans stuck with me, whether I won or lost. I didn't get that big backlash when I lost a fight. And now I've been, obviously things have changed significantly for me in the last going on 2 years. I'm coming up on my 63rd birthday here in June, and all this started 2 years ago, June.
mm,
Um, The Army, we had a motto: lead by example.
yeah,
I don't need to say it out of my mouth. Yeah, I'm expressing a whole bunch of vulnerabilities and things that I've been feeling this last 20 months, but I want to lead by example. Talk is cheap. Anybody can do that, and people do that all the time. And a lot of times they're lying. Trying to be authentic, not afraid to show vulnerability. These are things that males don't do very well. And then my military training on top of that, and why our soldiers struggle as much as they do, is that training is their worst enemy too. The last thing you want to do in a combat zone is show weakness or vulnerability.
yeah,
And that training is ingrained in you deeply. So asking for help is, no, you stay laser focused on the mission and get it accomplished no matter what. Again, why so many of our guys are offing themselves. We know the stats, 22 a day. And obviously I'm deeply entrenched in that community because it was part of my journey. 19 to 25, I wore that uniform. Thankfully, I didn't have to walk out into a combat zone and be shot at or shoot at somebody else.
yeah.
And you know, It's the truth of the matter. So I hope it touches somebody. I hope it makes somebody dig in. I hope it makes somebody start doing some of their own research, start reading those labels at the grocery store, because there's a whole bunch of scary stuff and they just keep rotating the names so we can't keep up. Look for those coatings like Appeal. Recognize that they're starting to try and put this mNRA stuff that was in that vaccine that they're tabulating has killed 17 million people so far, which is way too light for their goals. I mean, how many times do you have to hear Bill Gates say it? We can control the population and reduce it by 15 to 20% through vaccination. Blah. Big
Mm,
red flag.
mm.
He said the quiet part out loud. Oh, I hope it gets some people's attention, honestly, and they can think I'm crazy and got punched in the head, and that's okay. That's all right. I understand. It's a crazy, scary world right now. It really is.
It
But
is.
we are all connected. And if we treat each other better, are willing to vibrate in that frequency of love and gratitude for everything that we do have in this amazing place we live, and be authentic,
Yeah.
I think we're all going to be better off. We
Can I
have to stop focusing on our differences and start focusing on our similarities, and everything else will fall into line.
can I add one more word to that? And the word would be respect. I think we need to be able to respect one another as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So it's without respect, there's this may sound odd, but I say without respect, there's no guidance, but because we still need some guidance, but we need the guidance from somebody that respects us as I respect them. As you were saying, what's inside of us is a reflection out here in the world. So if I
Mhm.
have this bad thing in me, what am I surrounded by? Bad people, bad actors, bad everything. If I have
Mhm.
that good, I've got everything good around me. I don't know if that makes sense, but that's how I personally feel, and I try to live
Makes
the
sense to
good
me.
throughout life.
Yeah, makes perfect sense to me.
So, um, hey, I do want to ask you about something if you want to talk about it, and you
Sure.
kind of touched on it early. Is do you have? We're talking about CBD and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and you've got a new endorsement, do you?
Yes. I was just exposed. Like I said, I've been using the CBN gummies for sleep for about 5 years now. It's a distillate of THC. Um, we all have plant-based receptors in our body. We were
Mhm.
made for this stuff. And there you can get as as extreme on the plant-based psychedelic side of things as you want. And I've been studying this quite a bit and been sponsoring some retreats with shaman, very guided with full intention and integration afterwards. And I've had some of my brothers and sisters that have been in combat and are dragging around a lot of serious wounds inside and outside tell me that it changed their life. It saved their life. So I'm a big advocate for plant-based medicine. I've been using the CBN for a while for sleep. I got recently introduced to a company called Active E, and it's everything that is counterintuitive about when you think of marijuana. Oh, you're going to be stoned. You're going to be out of it. You're going to be sleepy and lethargic and not motivated. No, it is the absolute opposite of all those things. Now, it's like the CBG, CBN, and CBD. It's a distillate of THC. Want to feel the brain fog go away, activated all day. I take one every morning, and I've been doing this for a couple months now. Uh, my daughter-in-law has been taking this. She's the one that introduced me to this. My son Ryan's wife, and she's lost 40 pounds
Wow.
through just normal, regular, active working out and trying to eat good foods and using this gummy, this Active E gummy, every morning. Um, Pretty crazy. You're
Yeah.
skeptical. I was skeptical. It's like, it's going to do what? That's like, and this is a THC product. How the hell does that work? And how did they figure this out? But it's all natural. It's plant based, and they've just figured out, through distillation, what things chemically do what, and they put it all in one little gummy, a couple different strengths, and man, I'm a firm believer now,
Yeah.
and I take them every single day.
See, the reason I wanted to ask you about that is because it does interact. uniquely with the body's endocannabinoid system, and it
Yes.
helps the body get balanced. Does give you support energy, mental
Clarity.
clarity, and all that.
Yep.
And the reason I ask about that is because everything else that we talked about right before, we're talking about clarity, clearing the mind, being authentic.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
I want to think that this can also help with that, if it
Yeah, I
in a
absolutely
way.
think it's all part and parcel to the same
Yeah,
package, right?
yeah.
The same wiring and the external things I put into that system are going to affect what's going on not only in the lower extremities but from the neck up. You ever hear
Mhm.
that? Well, you need a checkup from the neck up because you ain't got no pulse.
But Y yes, and that's why I wanted to have a tie between those, but I guess now I don't know much about this stuff, so I'll say there is a threshold, meaning that you can get carried away with certain things, like, correct me if I'm wrong, I think about everything is good in moderation, but you can overdo certain things and then you could go
Well,
beyond, or
eh, that in some ways that seems to me like a very American thing too. Well, hell, if a little bit is good, then a lot's going to be great.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think THC is not something you can OD on.
Right.
Where it's not
True.
physically going to hurt you. But I mean, there are instructions on the package. I mean, more isn't going to help you more. Is it going to hurt you to take two a day? Probably not. I
Yeah.
haven't, mainly because I still want to go to sleep. At a normal hour, and it really activates me. And so I think if I took one later in the day, it's probably going to affect my ability to shut down and really relax and sleep. I take one in the morning, and that's it. I think there's probably plenty of people that take two or maybe more. But again, there's a recommended dosage on there for a reason.
Yeah. Well, this is still along this line, but I'm just gonna throw this out there because I did read a study that, um, this can actually help with your intelligence as well. So
Yeah, it's interesting. You start talking about the way the brain functions, and I know psilocybin for sure,
yeah,
and I've studied that more, and I've done a couple of retreats with psilocybin myself, and remarkable experiences. And the veil of this reality that we're in starts to come down, and you see through it even better, and you get more in touch with your spiritual self. But it shuts off the hemispheres of our brain which
yeah.
cause these anxiety loops and these trauma loops and a bunch of these bad habits that we fall into, whether it be drinking, smoking, you know, sex addict, whatever those are. It literally detaches those hemispheres for up to 30 days, which allows you to develop new neural pathways, shed those old behaviors, and develop new ones. And when you go into those experiences with intention, the medicine is very smart and knows exactly what it's going to show you and where it's going to take you so that you get and achieve those intentions. And then, with the help of a shaman, this is not recreation, this is intense.
Yeah,
You are literally digging into your soul and wading through the mud, the quagmire, the swamp that I believe each and every one of us drags around
yeah.
and operates through and looks through that lens and everything they see. So this is going to force you to look at a bunch of that stuff and deal
Well,
with a bunch of that stuff and shed a bunch of that stuff. So it's amazingly therapeutic and cathartic, uh, but allows you to create new neural pathways and move forward in a better way.
well, I'm glad you said that this is not recreational. That's not the purpose of what we're talking about, and
Oh, hell no.
just go for substance.
Nobody would do this recreation. I don't know who would do this recreationally. You are literally going to watch yourself dissolve.
Yeah,
Your ego is going to die, literally die. I mean, you're going to cry, you're going to purge, and purging happens in a bunch of different ways. And there's nothing fun about it. It's very intense, but man, is it life altering. It you literally look at things differently.
well, it's in other cultures, you may have heard, like, people hear about the walkabout, they go on a
Hmm.
walkabout, very similar.
Australia,
Yep. You
known
hear,
for it.
Native Americans in the sweat tents,
Yeah.
I
The,
it's
the Native American sweat lodges and And obviously, the Native Americans were notorious for using a bunch of psychedelics for those journeys and to see their ancestors and the way they looked at the world. And what did we do? Put a boot on their throat
Yeah.
and
Well,
crushed them. How about the Amazonian
uh,
natives? I mean,
uh,
how do you find this vine that actually has DMT in it, and our bodies produce DMT. Your pineal gland releases DMT when you pass away, but your lungs and your liver produce DMT too. That's why this breath work is so important, because you can, through proper breath work, release DMT into your system. Will you have a full psychedelic experience? No, but it's going to make you feel better. It's the counter for depression, anxiety, all these things that so many of us struggle with on a regular basis. But how
yeah.
did they find this root that has DMT in it and that vine hanging up there? Because if you just eat the root, your body cannot process that DMT. But you put it with that vine up there that has a buffering agent in it, and you brew them together. Now that DMT will absorb into your system, and you're going to see things. You're going to meet your ancestors. You're going to see your spirit guides. You're potentially going to talk to the creator.
Hmm.
Lots of people have met Yeshua, who Christians call Christ. It is amazing. The veil of this reality comes down, and you lose your physical perspective to this reality, and you get in touch with your higher self, your oversoul, whatever you want to call that. That's that
Yeah.
guy that made the decision to incarnate here, to
It,
forget all he was and all he is, to come here and be an expression of God and look through these eyes as God. God is in each and every one of us. That's
if,
what Christ was trying to tell us.
well, if people don't know what DMT is, I'd say look it up. There's a very good
Dimethyltrimiptan.
documentary.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a great documentary on it as well, and you can find Joe Rogan talks about it often on his
Rogan, a bunch,
podcast. Yeah.
a bunch of
So,
guys that are public people have done it. I've been on 2 journeys uh, with Aya, the grandmother Aya, and it's amazing. The medicine knows you, knows where to take you, knows exactly what you need if you go into this with intention and purpose. And I don't think anybody would do this for recreation. It is an amazing purge. And again, this isn't recreational. I see everything differently now, and I see the connection, and I feel the connection. Um, so many interesting things. Why are we on a 12-month system? Why is September the 9th month when Sept is obviously 7 and Oct is obviously 8, but it's the 10th month? I mean, they have us out of sync in so many ways. We should
yeah.
be on a 13-month system with 28 days in every month. Every day, every month ends on the same day of the week, and we are in cycle with the moon and this great machine that we are living in, because that's what it is. The sun and the moon operate. I mean, look at the atomic clock at the town square in Prague, and then you start to understand the connection between this realm that we're living in and our experience here.
Yeah. Man, we're
They
getting
want us
deep.
out of sync. They want us out of sync. They want us unhealthy. They want us malleable and controllable. And they use fear and these perceived differences to get that result.
Hmm. It's, I mean, this is definitely a deep conversation that could go on forever because I have a whole lot of thoughts. I don't want to personal theories, but theories I think that fall along the line of what we're talking about and
Yeah.
how I feel.
I
And
have to say my beliefs have changed in the last 20 months. This is a belief. This feels so right to me. And while like I said, I'd be a Christian 20 months ago, there was so much of that that didn't feel right to me and created more questions in me than answers I was receiving. And I still have a lot of questions. Don't get me wrong,
yeah,
but I feel like I'm on the right track, and this fits. It feels right. I feel like I'm vibrating and feeling better than I've ever felt before. That's the truth.
this is the feeling that I have. And I feel that we are all connected. I don't want to believe that we are. I feel that we really are. And I look at and feel things where every living thing is connected. If you cut the branch off of something, it's a part of me, really, because we are all tied together. Some
Yep.
there is a reaction to every action, however you want to say it. So,
Yep. Dig into the quantum physics world because it through science, through the science of quantum physics, they are proving much of what we're talking about today.
mhm.
Look up the double slit experiment.
Okay.
Those photons and atoms
Yeah.
respond differently when they're observed. When our consciousness perceives them, they change how they act and what they do.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much proof out there if we take the time to dig in and look.
Yeah. Dang. All right. I gotta ask you something though, because this comes from a listener, and I kind
Okay.
of put it out mildly that I was going to be talking to you, and they said I'm 55 years old and I sit on my butt all day and I'm at work. What can I do to keep myself in shape if I feel like I don't have time?
I'm doing a circuit routine that I've been doing since I retired from the sport in 2011. It's 8 stations. I can adjust the weights and the reps. It's online. I just put it out in an article on social media. It's online. You can find it there in video form, but it's very easy. 2 push exercises, 2 pull exercises, 2 core exercises, and 2 leg exercises. Adjust the weight for your goals. If you're trying to
Mhm.
get bigger and thicker, then lower weights and lower reps. You're trying to be endurance and durability, 10 to 15 reps. I'm doing 15 reps, going through uh, that station, 8 station cycle 4 times as fast as I can go through that with no rest. So I'm in and out of the gym in 30 minutes. Now, if that's not possible, now again, this has to become a routine and a habit, you know. And if you have to, get a trainer or a training buddy, because now there's some accountability. Iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. You don't want to get that text. Where are you at, bro?
Yeah.
Force
Yep.
yourself to show up. Some accountability there. But a very simple circuit that I use, and I can amalgamate it in any hotel. Most hotels have a small gym in them now with dumbbells and whatever. I can replicate those 8 stations or some version of them and the weights to get that circuit done and get my workout in. During movie day shoots where I'm, in a hotel for 30 plus days sometimes, I'm doing that every day. And I
Oh, you
recover,
got to.
keeps me sweating and keeps me moving. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now with a busy life and traveling and all the stuff that I do, I'm getting it in 3, sometimes 4 days a week, but it's super easy to do. Um, adjust to that intermittent fasting, start reading those labels and put good stuff in so that you get the response that you're looking for. Do a blood chem panel. Let's see where your hormones are at. And,
Yes.
because otherwise we're throwing darts at a dartboard with a blindfold on. It's stupid.
Yeah.
And don't believe the marketing. Dig in, study these things, know these natural substances and stuff that are supposed to work and what they're putting in these and advertising as the miracle that's going to save you. Nobody's coming to save us. We've got to save ourselves, and we are all connected. Yeah, 55 and in that cubicle, man, the American dream, right?
Right.
Oh my
Right.
gosh. Raise your desk, get rid of the chair. In your breaks, you can flex and do, uh, flex all those muscles. Do, do
Movement.
do body weight movements, push-ups, sit-ups, lunges, squats with just your body weight.
Yeah.
You don't have to be fancy, and you're still getting your blood pumping, still working those muscles, keeping that body moving. Body in motion stays in motion.
Yeah.
Body
That's
at rest tends to stay at rest. And the sedentary lifestyle, we're not meant to be sedentary. We're not built that way. And that's this industrial revolution started this whole process. And now we're all running towards comfort. What are these 15-minute cities? What is all this fast food? All this stuff is comfort. And
yeah.
comfort, to be quite frank, is not good for us. We need to be uncomfortable. We need to work for things. We need to have struggles. Otherwise, we're not flourishing. We're not developing resilience and character.
Yeah. Well, comfort, complacency, it's it doesn't it doesn't get you anywhere. It's
Uh,
we were, I think, meant to be hunter gatherer.
yep.
They They went through fasting because it was a necessity. You didn't.
Yeah, you didn't
You
know
don't.
when that next mammoth was going to come along.
Right. Right.
I think they've lied to us about a bunch of our history. I think there were some societies back there that were very, very
Comfortable.
skilled. No, had a lot of technical ability.
Oh yeah,
I think
definitely.
they've lied to us about a bunch of that.
Yeah.
Look up Greater Tartaria, go back even further than that. And there's some stuff, a lot of stuff out there that they can't explain that didn't get built with horse and buggy
No.
technology. And some of it didn't get built by any technology that we know of today. Is pretty wild. But you have to dig into a bunch of this stuff. Be interesting to see how much stuff they have buried in the Vatican archives, how much truth is down there. Everybody's like, oh, they burned the Library of Alexandria, which was the biggest library in the world at the time. Yeah, well, they cleaned it out and it all went to the Vatican before they burned it down. That's what a lot of people don't know or realize. So a bunch of that information still exists in the old world, the old frequency, this is knowledge that Christ had.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, well, where was he those 33 years? We know a lot about his birth and we know a lot about his death, but he went to Tibet. He went to Egypt. He learned a bunch of this stuff. He was an Essenian mystic. There's a lot more there. You got to let go of the religious rhetoric that we've been fed because it's all skewed.
Yeah.
6 books in the Bible that are attributed to Paul. Paul never walked with Christ. Paul was a Roman. But yet those are the most prominent books that tell you how to behave and how you're supposed to interact with God.
Yeah.
And then the books we talked about already that they left out. Why?
Yeah.
Because if you read those books, they paint a completely different picture of Christ and who he was. And that breaks the narrative.
And that's why
they
they're
were
not
left
in there.
out. Exactly right.
Yep. Wow. Randy, I got to just say wow on all this. This went far more in depth and far different than I expected, but this is pretty damn amazing.
I appreciate you, Chuck.